Power collapses when it has nowhere to go. This is the simplest truth most systems refuse to face. When force is trapped between two poles, it intensifies until it breaks the structure meant to hold it. 2 points create tension. Tension without a third point creates fracture. This is not philosophy. It is physics, psychology, politics, and spirituality operating under the same law. Power without a third point always turns against itself. Binary power structures dominate human history because they are easy to understand and emotionally satisfying. That is the concept of us and them, right and wrong, sacred and profane, masculine and feminine, order and chaos. These binaries create identity through opposition. They give people something to fight for and something to fight against. What they do not give is sustainability. Opposition generates energy, but it does not govern it. When power is held between two poles, every movement becomes reactive. One side pushes, the other resists. Escalation replaces intelligence. Whoever applies more force wins temporarily, but the structure weakens with each exchange. Eventually, collapse becomes inevitable, not because one side was wrong, but because the system lacked a stabilizing third point. The third point is not compromise. It is not neutrality. It is not mediation. Those are still binary tools dressed as peace. The third point is structure. It absorbs force without becoming it. It redirects the energy without opposing it. It determines outcome without being consumed by conflict. This is why power without the third point always becomes violent, brittle, and performative. Violent when force is the only remaining language. Brittle when rigidity replaces adaptability. Performative when appearance replaces function. All three are symptoms of collapse in progress. In human systems, the absence of a third point produces endless cycle of domination and rebellion. Authority becomes tyranny. Resistance becomes chaos. Each side believes the other is the problem, unaware that the real issue is structural incompleteness. The system was never designed to hold sustained pressure. The third point is what allows pressure to circulate instead of explode. This is why the trident exists, not as a symbol, but as architecture. The womb, blade, and the law. When the womb and the blade without the law produces disaster, tragedy ensures. The womb, the blade, without the law will always produce disaster. Creation and destruction without governance generate instability. Love and force without discernment produce trauma. Expansion and contraction without timing produces exhaustion. The third point is timing. Law, threshold, or environment, depending on the system. It is the element that does not participate emotionally in the struggle but determines when the struggle must end. Binary power systems hate third points because third points cannot be easily controlled. They do not belong to either side. They refuse allegiance. They do not validate narratives. They care about outcomes, not victory. This is why institutions often try to eliminate or capture third points. Judges become partisan. Elders become political. Gatekeepers become bribed. Once the third point is compromised, the system accelerates towards collapse. The feminine has historically occupied the third point, which is why it has been targeted, erased, or sentimentalized. When the feminine is reduced to one side of a binary, usually nurture or emotion, the system loses its stabilizer. What remains is endless oscillation between control and rebellion. The third point is what decides when something has gone too far. Without it, there is no stopping mechanism. Systems continue expanding until they exhaust resources. Relationship continue deteriorating until rupture. Movement radicalize until implosion. Individuals push themselves until burnout. The absence of a third point turns momentum into self-destruction. This is why single-axis power always feels intoxicating at first. It simplifies reality, it offers clarity, it gives direction. But clarity without containment is dangerous. Direction without boundary leads off cliffs. The third point introduces consequences. Consequences is not punishment, it is feedback. Binary systems resist feedback because feedback destabilizes identity. If you are defined by being right, if you are defined by feedback, if you are defined by being wrong or being right or being listened to all the time, feedback feels like attack. If you are defined by being oppressed, feedback feels like betrayal. The third point does not care about how feedback feels. It applies it because survival depends on it. This is why the third point often appears cold. It does not comfort narratives. It does not protect ego. It protects structure. In personal power, the absence of a third point produces extremes. You are either asserting or collapsing, giving or withholding, loving or cutting off. There is no modulation. Emotional whiplash replaces intelligence. The third point allows pause, redirection, calibration. It gives power somewhere to land. This is also why people raised in binary environments struggle with regulation. Their nervous systems are trained for fight or flight, not governance. Without a third point, stress has no release valve. It accumulates until it explodes or implodes. In leadership, power without the third point produces authoritarianism or paralysis. Leaders either over-control or avoid decision entirely. Both are failures of structure. The third point allows decisive action without escalation. It makes authority precise rather than excessive. In spirituality, the absence of a third point is catastrophic. Systems polarize into belief and disbelief, devotion and rebellion, purity and corruption. Depth is lost, nuance is demonized. Anyone who attempts to introduce structural thinking is accused of being cold, unspiritual, or corrupt. In reality, they are trying to save the system from collapse. The third point is often invincible because it does not perform, it does not seek recognition, it does not advertise its role. It is felt through absence. When it disappears, chaos increases. When it returns, stability re-emerges entirely. This invincibility makes the third point easy to undervalue, and easy to remove. People do not notice what they rely on until it is gone. This is why systems often destroy their own stabilizers during moments of ideological fervor. Elders are dismissed, boundaries are dissolved, laws are mocked, gatekeeping is condemned, then collapse accelerates. The third point also introduces time. Binary systems live in urgency. Act now or lose. Decide now or be defeated. This urgency is not strategic. It is panic disguised as conviction. The third point allows time. It allows observation. It waits for patterns to reveal themselves. This waiting is intolerable to those addicted to movement because it exposes impatience as fear. Power without the third point mistakes speed for strength. The third point understands that some things resolve themselves if not interfered with. Others require decisive interruption. Knowing the difference is what we call wisdom. Acting without knowing the difference is recklessness. This is why the third point is often associated with the feminine, not because it is passive, but because it is receptive to information. Receptivity is not submission. It is data collection. Without data, power guesses. Guessing is expensive. Binary systems guess constantly. They act based on ideology rather than observation. They double down when wrong. They escalate when challenged. They collapse when reality refuses to comply. The trident insists on a third point because power without a third point is dangerous. Power is always unstable. It's either overreaches or self-destructs. The third point grounds power in consequence rather than belief. This teaching is not abstract. You can see it everywhere. In governments that polarize until they fracture. In relationships that oscillate between closeness and rupture. In spiritual communities that split into factions. In individuals who swing between confidence and self-doubt. The pattern is the same. Two forces, no stabilizer. The solution is not moderation. Moderation still lives inside the binary. The solution is structure. The third position that governs movement without becoming movement itself. This is why the trident is non-negotiable. It is the minimum architecture required for sustainable power. Power, remove any prong from the trident and structure will fail. Remove the third point and power eats itself. The house of the trident teaches this because collapse is not mysterious. It is predictable. Systems fail when they refuse to build for pressure. Binary power cannot handle pressure indefinitely. Triadic power can. The third point does not prevent conflict, it prevents annihilation. It does not eliminate force, it channels it. It does not promise peace, it promises survival. When you understand this, you stop romanticizing struggle and start designing structures that can hold it. You stop asking who is right and start asking what stabilizes the system. Power without the third point always collapses because it has no place to rest. The trident gives power somewhere to stand.